Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
The Stanley Cup Finals will end very soon, maybe even this weekend, and that means we will all begin our next life as a hockeyless sports town, a former major league sports town, and you might think this would cause us great angst and regret in the Valley, but here's the uncomfortable, honest truth. Only a small percentage of people will even notice the Coyotes are gone, and that makes me furious. It makes me mad because when I watch the Stanley Cup Finals, you see hockey at its finest, full of grit and passion and excitement. The sport steps up in class during the postseason like no other, with reverence for the championship trophy you will not find in any other sport. But the Coyotes never delivered hockey at its finest. They gave us one extended playoff run in nearly 3 decades, and it was glorious. But it was also a rare occurrence from a franchise that could never find footing, the right owner, or the right venue. And now you've got to wonder, would it be better for Alex Morello to actually win that land auction in less than 2 weeks, or do we all just wait and bide our time for an NHL expansion team like the city of Atlanta and Minnesota once did? Either way, the story again fills me with a special kind of rage, because the Coyotes came here in 1996, and in 28 seasons, they couldn't do enough to make the masses miss them when they're gone. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
He can, and we've seen them ride out games doing this. 3 Oilers desperately trying to poke it free from Ekblad. 10 seconds to go. The puck is still in the corner and cleared. And a vintage finish for the Florida Panthers.
Nothing quite like the closing seconds of a high-leverage hockey game. That is a feeling that you wouldn't believe how much I miss. When you have a hockey team you are cheering for and you are in a big-time game, playoff game, Game 7, Game 4, and you've got a lead and there's 2 minutes left, the other team pulls the goalie, they've got the additional skater, and you're holding your breath waiting for the game to end. The reason I brought this up today is because in watching the Stanley Cup last night, I had these, exactly like I said, these feelings of rage that how could we have messed this up the way we did with a hockey franchise?
It's a perfect time to bring it up also because yesterday the Utah team officially announced their name for next year will be the Utah Hockey Club. And they officially showed their jerseys, what they will look like.
And they look very sharp.
But very like plain. Obviously, they have no logo or mascot or anything yet. But
well,
it's really hitting home now.
Yeah, a lot of things happened yesterday that, for me, kind of ripped the Band-Aid off prematurely, and the wound became open again that I felt when this team, in the span of a very short time, when we found out that they were going to leave. And what it was is yesterday, and I don't know all the details, but apparently the employees that were still going to be employed, I had heard through the land auction, right? Which is at the end of the month, the 27th or 28th.
Yes, 27th.
And, you know, I guess with the final sale, the sale going through, which had been held up, it appeared. I again, don't know the details, but that's what happened yesterday. And these, you know, they got word that they will be laid off at the end of the month and whatever, you know, severance is there. But it was just sad to, you know, when you know what's coming. I mean, honestly, I dealt with it at the former Fox Sports Arizona, Bally Sports Arizona, when, you know, I quickly went over to MLB and kind of continued my role. But I had, you know, my friends and colleagues for 23 plus years. And then now with the Coyotes, some people have been there, you know, some the entire time. You said 96, Dan, that's I came in 2000, but people that have been there, and this is the end for them. And yeah, well, the staff, the hockey staff, they'll be going, but many of them will be going, but not so much the staff of it. When you know what's coming, but it's still difficult. And
without a doubt. And
it does, because here I am, a girl from Florida, right? But I covered the Panthers, and then they went to the Stanley Cup. I go up to Buffalo, and when you talk about the end of a game, Game 6 when Buffalo was playing the Dallas Stars, the Brett Hull in the crease game. Talk about rage. Talk about rage, And I was, 4:30 a.m. we finished that night because it was and there were all these, there were prior situations, 3 overtimes the night before where it could have ended, and there were all these things that happen that show you how exciting hockey can be, and it's just it definitely hurts me. Not only me personally, that this team that I had covered since 2000 is gone, but for everyone that had poured their lives into it, and only into that too.
And for the people who did pour their lives in the Coyotes, you were some of the more loyal fans that anybody could ever hope for. Stuck with this team through dysfunction after dysfunction after dysfunction. I know you don't want to hear this, but this team was so unsuccessful and so known for their dysfunction and so roundly ridiculed. We're not going to miss them in the traditional sense of a city losing major league sports status. I firmly believe that. I don't want that to be true, but I think it is true.
They were the second newest team that got here, too.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't here for, 50 years like the Suns were.
It's the lack of good stuff. They gave us Shane Doan. It's the lack of...
A couple of playoff runs.
And Josh Doan.
What was the couple? What was the second playoff run they had?
Well, they had...
Well, I mean, when they first got here, they made the playoffs every year.
They never won a playoff.
They didn't have a run.
And
but
then 2012,
I just meant
the last one was when, they had made a run there, but that's the last time. So you talk about over a decade now and it was this constant rebuilding and let's face it, you're right. A lot of it goes back to the revenue and not being able to make, having an owner that could sustain this and a team that was losing money because of the arena situation, because of different things.
It's just sad.
And it is sad.
And what is going to hurt if you are a Coyotes fan, it's not that just that you lost the team, because it's that the team is going to continue on, just not here. Yeah. So you're going to see Clayton Keller and Josh Doan wearing these Utah Hockey Club jerseys next season.
I mean, I am going to be rooting for them, but it does hurt.
Oh, yeah, especially if they get into the playoffs and win a playoff series. That's good. That is that will leave a mark.
I accidentally was listening to Luke Lipinski when this was all going down. And he made the point that these hardcore Coyotes fans have waited so long to have a team that was filled with real, legitimate young talent that could become superstars. And finally, they had like 2 or 3 guys that could be like 40-goal scorers on their team that were about ready to break out. And we're not going to get to see that. They're going to do that with a different city.
If you cut it off at the GM, and left out the Morello family and the son who told Shane Doan he wasn't ready to be a GM. If you wipe that, you wipe that out, the Coyotes might not have ever been in a better position than they are right now. From composition of roster to quality of head coach to clarity of general manager.
Right, so now what we are left with, though, unfortunately, is not the team, but, yes, the owner. Mm-hmm. And there was, I saw Burns and Gamble put a poll up the other day. Are you rooting for them to win the land auction or not?
What did that poll produce?
I think it was like 50-50, like really close to that, because
it's a fair question.
It's a tough thing to wrap your head around. You want hockey back, but if you want it back, do you want that ownership group?
Especially after that last press conference he did with Gary Bettman, right? Yeah. There's no attachment there.
51% say yes, they're rooting for Alex Meduello to win the auction. 49%
said no, we'll wait.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Because the city of Atlanta, they've lost 2 hockey teams, right?
Correct. The Flames and the Thrashers.
Right. Okay. And Minnesota lost the North Stars. They got the Wild back. It is not inconceivable to think that
Winnipeg.
There you go. Winnipeg as well. It's not inconceivable to think that the NHL will double back to this market at some point. But there's going to have to be the right purchaser, and there's going to have to be a pre-made arena solution in place. All right, there you go. Just some of my thoughts. Because when you watch the Stanley Cup, hockey at that level is breathtaking. And we never had it once in 28 years. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring everybody down.
You're not wrong, and it is hard to listen to.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.